Chapter 5: Secret of the Edward Family.
Jessica! Ashley, are you okay? I think so. But I'm dizzy. Everything is foggy. I'm so sorry I let you go alone. It was selfish. This is all my fault. Are you hurt? No, I'm okay. I'm so glad you're safe. Handcuffs? No good. Thanks. I found them outside. I was so worried about you. Everything suddenly went dark. I must have been knocked out. When I came to, I was handcuffed to this beam. That's horrible. Who would do something like that? Bill. Bill did this? You know about him? Dad told me. You met your father? Yeah. He told me a little.
He was my assistant and is absolutely brilliant. But he betrayed me. He tried to steal the research we did on Zach.
Bill tried to steal another? You knew Bill too?
I did.
He used to work with Richard. I never expected it to turn out here. I ran into him right after I left you. He said that he'd take me to Richard.
I shouldn't have trusted him.
He knocked me out somehow once we got to the mansion. I had no idea. Wait. Dad said he caught Bill.
Regardless,
I'm so glad you finally met Richard. Yeah. And then I asked him about another. And about Mom. He told you what happened? Yeah. We talked about it. So that's my dad, huh?
what do you mean?
Where is he? I was with him earlier, but he went off to do something else.
Do something else?
He left you alone? Yeah. He said he had to go start another.
I love that artwork on the right. Like, holy shit. I wish the entire game had come with an art book like that.
Jessica, about Dad, he definitely cares way more about his research than us.
That's not...
He said so. He told me he has to finish another. For Mom.
Richard said that.
Really? Yeah. Did you know about another?
Not really. Your father mentioned it a few times. Something about using it to save people from painful memories.
Yeah, he told me that too. He said Bill stole the keys he needs to start it. So, we split up. I went looking for the keys while he looked for you. But he clearly didn't find you.
Ashley.
was a suspect. You know the dream I always have? It's about the night Mom was murdered.
Oh, Ashley.
That's why, isn't it? That's why you never talked about Mom or another.
You're right.
Why was Dad a suspect?
Listen to me. Richard found Sayoko that night. And because he was at the scene of the crime, he was a suspect.
Right.
He kept telling them he was innocent. With no other evidence, they released him. They couldn't find another lead. So the case went unsolved. The false accusations devastated Richard. I confronted him as soon as he was released from custody. I asked outright if he killed Sayoko. He looked me right in the eyes and answered without a hint of guilt. He said, absolutely not.
He told me that too. That he didn't kill her. But
What is it?
he didn't look me in the eyes. It's hard to trust someone who acts like that.
Oh, sweetheart.
I'm just over all this. He isn't my dad. Can't we both just leave here together? I'll get those cuffs off you as soon as I can. There's gotta be something I can use around here.
Ashley, wait. Please, give Richard one more chance. He can help.
Why should I?
At the very least, he can get me out of these handcuffs.
But what about you? I can't leave you here. I just found you.
I'll be fine. Now go.
No, I don't trust.
I do. Please, Ashley. Believe in him. He's my older brother. And your father. Okay?
But I. Okay.
Once we get out of here, we'll go home. The three of us.
Yeah. You'll be safe here, right? I'll be right back with Dad.
Yes. I'll be fine. Sayoko, protect her. Please.
I'm so glad you found Jessica. Me too, but I don't think she could see you.
She's an adult. I'm used to it by now.
I guess.
More importantly, we can't let our guard down.
You're right. I can't believe Bill did that to Jessica. But I'll worry about it later. We need to find my dad. Where could he have gone? I think he was heading toward the courtyard.
Huh. It's getting late. Where did Dad go? I don't really even want to see him, but I need to take him with me to rescue Jessica. There's a big metal door in the courtyard across from the door he left through, so he probably went through that. Also, there sure are a lot of flowers in the courtyard. Was Dad taking care of them? He doesn't seem like the type. Jessica told me a little more about what happened to Mom and Dad being a suspect. She says I should believe in him, but how can I do that when he won't even look at me? What should I do, Mom? Dee floated off somewhere right after my dad left, leaving me all alone. I wound up in the mansion's courtyard while looking for Dee. Colorful flowers are blooming all around the fountain. Could it be could it be that my dad, as cold as he treated me, has been taking care of these flowers? I can't even begin to imagine. I found a sprout key in the fountain and used it to get into the Silverbird room. Dee was in there. He told me about when Thomas was killed, and it brought up memories of my own. I couldn't stop myself from crying. I'll never forget Dee's kindness as he stayed by my side, looking over me without a word. But the thing I was most happy about is we found Jessica. Bill had handcuffed her in the wine cellar. She's still stuck down there even now. Hold on, Jessica. We'll come back for you. I finally found my dear Aunt Jessica. I'm glad she's okay. But what kind of monster is Bill locking people up in underground rooms? She still can't move because of the stupid handcuffs, so I want to rescue her ASAP. But she said not to worry about her, that I should focus on finding Dad. But why? He's the guy who cares more about his research than his own family. But knowing Jessica, she probably, no, definitely won't move on till I bring Dad, so I guess I have to look for him now. Dee remembered his father being murdered. It was in the Silverbird room, which is probably why he was too scared to get near that place. He looked so sad, staring down at the blood-stained carpet. I know how he feels so much that it hurts. When Lawrence got sick, Thomas came back to the island with Dee and was murdered in the Silverbird room by his one and only brother, Henry. I can't imagine how Thomas felt. Was it shock? Sadness? Or maybe the worst part was knowing that Dee would be all alone once he was gone. The farewell letter we found in Franny's parents' room from Mary to Henry showed how sad and painful this all was for Marie, but there was also a big hint in the letter for finding the key to the Silverbird room. You threw the sprout key in the fountain. This letter was the reason I was able to find Dee. The Silverbird room is where Thomas died after Henry shot him. The room was sealed up and no one has been there since. Did they just not want to go in there anymore? Maybe they didn't want anyone to touch it again? I guess I'll never know. I'll also never know why one member of a family would kill another. It seems like the brothers got along really well, so what went wrong?
No good. It's locked. Actually, look. There's a ladder on the other side of the door. You're right. Where do you think it leads?
Ah.
That's the door to my great-grandfather's room. Yeah.
And with two birds on the door, I'm willing to bet that's where we have to combine the keys. But first, yes, there was a painting in here. The door to the courtyard is locked up tight. But the other side is not. Of course, I just had to pick the wrong side first.
Come to think of it.
Mm.
Wow.
These chandeliers are amazing. I've only ever seen stuff like this on TV. It's probably even more beautiful when it's lit up.
How can we open it? This design.
The other room's doors had one bird, but this one has two.
Yeah. Two birds holding a silver and gold clover in their beaks. Maybe the key to this room is...
You can now combine items. Open the white item you use, combine over an item you're interested in. The two keys combined into one. Got 4-leaf clover key. I combined the gold and silver sprout keys to make a single key with the 4-leaf clover design. There's some significance to the fact that this is only possible when you have both keys.
Whoa, check out the view. Where's the ladder? Shouldn't it lead to this room? What's wrong, Dee?
This is my great-grandfather, Uncle Henry, and my father.
Grandfather, do you know who I am?
I remember. My father brought me here. My great-grandfather was asleep in the bed. He was sleeping so peacefully. But as we got closer, he opened his eyes and looked at us. He smiled, but it was sad. Father took his hand and squeezed it. He was crying. That was the first time I ever saw him cry.
Oh, Dee.
We have to track down your dad.
Yeah. Where's the ladder we can take back down?
There are lots of strange devices and hidden secrets all around this mansion, like moving the door and the width of the... Oh, it's just a picture that's been updated. Same with Henry and Thomas. portrait's title is displayed beneath it. The two returned from war. The title under the painting reads The Beloved Golden and Silver Birds. The Beloved Golden and Silver Birds? I think I saw something like that in Wells's journal. Does that mean these two boys are Henry and Thomas? I can't even tell what the artwork is supposed to be. These book titles are all way over my head. I wonder if I'd understand any of them. This sofa has so much fine detail, it must have been expensive. The title under the painting reads, My Son, Leonard. My son, Leonard. This must be Leonard's son. He must have kept this painting close by so that he could always feel his son's presence. Whoa, this bed looks fit for a princess. How luxurious. I've only seen beds this fancy in picture books and on TV. This is a movie projector, right? What sort of movies could your great-grandfather even watch on this thing? I just remembered something. After my great-grandfather died, my father showed me something with this. Huh? It was some old footage. It was shots of my father and Uncle Henry playing together as kids. The two of them together. It seemed like it made him sad for some reason. I get that. There's a small cabinet by the bed. Wells told me that there's something great-grandfather cherished in this drawer. Oh wow, you were right. There's something in there. To my beloved father, I ask that you find it in yourself to forgive me for turning my back on the life you had hoped for me in choosing the life of a musician. I left home without so much as a word to you, and was confronted with the cruelties of the world. However, I'm happy that I chose this path for myself. I married and became the father of 2 children, and now I hope there will be a day when I can return home and speak with you, Leonard Edward. It's a letter from Lawrence's son. Looks like he left home. Then the 2 children Leonard mentions here must be Uncle Henry and my father. Leonard Edward, the musician. Lawrence had one child, a son named Leonard. Lawrence tried to establish him as a successor, but whether due to a difference in values or something else entirely, Leonard refused to take over the family business. Instead, he chose to leave home and pursue a career as a musician. There was no word on Leonard's whereabouts for a long time. Then one day he sent his father a letter, telling him that he married a woman he met in a bar. Lawrence resented the fact he had not approved of the marriage, so he refused to see his son. They lost touch again after this. Several years passed, and Lawrence received another letter from Leonard. He had 2 sons by then, Henry and Thomas. Although Lawrence finally agreed to see his son, it was too late. Leonard became sick during an epidemic and passed away at age 30. A thought occurred to me as I learned of these two and how they couldn't connect with one another. In order for a child to understand the motivations of a parent who loses themselves in their work, it may be necessary for the child to grow up and become a parent themselves. I wonder if my father thought about Jessica and me as he worked, the same way Ashley occupies my thoughts as I continue my work on another. There's an old notebook. There's something written in the note. May 1948. I feel my time drawing near. I've decided to record my thoughts while I'm still able to grasp a pen. Today I recall a day from 32 years ago. The day I first held Henry and Thomas in my arms. That was also the day I received a letter of reconciliation from my son Leonard, who left home after rejecting the life I desired for him. The 2 young children, Henry and Thomas, appeared while I was caught in a maelstrom of grief and regret. I had just been informed of Leonard's sudden death, yet I will never forget the innocent smiles they wore that day. I resolved then and there to raise Henry and Thomas myself. I loved them more than I have loved anyone before. I wished only for their lives to be filled with joy, and fulfilling that wish became my sole purpose. Henry and Thomas were like a pair of birds who delivered joy to my life. My wish was heard, both boys growing up healthy and with love for one another. Before long, they sought to fulfill wishes of their own, each choosing a path that drew them from the nest. Henry wished to be an artist, Thomas a novelist. I found myself alone in this mansion, yet still wishing for nothing but their happiness. However, as the 2 began their journeys down their respective paths, my wish was completely and utterly crushed by upheavals of the time. The world was cast into war, and the 2 were sent to its bitter battlefield. To add insult to injury, this was also when the gold mine withered to nothing. No longer able to support even me alone. Powerless, I prayed for the war to end, and for the safe return of my beloved Henry and Thomas. When news of the war's end finally came and the boys returned to me, they were different. My 2 birds had been hurt. It was as if their wings had been clipped. Henry had lost his right arm, so could no longer hold a paintbrush, and Thomas had lost his heart, and with it his ability to trust. I held the tired, wounded pair in my arms, and I cried. I was reminded of 32 years prior when I held them for the first time. I prayed that the scars on their bodies and hearts might heal as soon as possible. But now, I wonder if my actions from that point on were right. I once again find myself navigating sorrow and regret, just as I did when Leonard passed. Only now there are no innocent faces to be found, no birds to ease these feelings. This is Lawrence's journal. There's something stuck between the pages. Is this a letter? A letter? Was it sent here from someone? Upon my death, Henry Edward is to inherit the entirety of my estate. Lawrence Edward. That's the opposite of the note we saw in the Silverbird room. This is Lawrence's will. He even signed it. See? My great-grandfather's will? Yeah. It says that the heir to his inheritance is Henry. So that means the will we found in the Silverbird room. My father must have written that himself. That explains why it was stuck in Thomas's typewriter. But why? Hold on, is this a trapdoor? That ladder we saw before must be under it. It won't budge with that desk in the way. What can I do? What's this rail? Oh, there's something weird built into the drawer. Try moving it. What should I do? But I'm sure there's some sort of mechanism to this. Wow, what a great view of the yard. It looks nice with the fountain being clean. Look, there's something under the water. Those look like the symbols for the star signs. To think it can only hold 10 photos. Here I can see two bird statues built into the fountain. It's almost like they're looking at the star signs. So, gold, bow and arrow, silver, ox. A round device made of tin sits on the table. Some kind of stand? That's a zoetrope. A zoo, what's it? They were invented a long time ago, long before I was born. The pictures inside move when it spins. How does it work? Spin the outside with your hand and look in through the slits on the side. I'll give it a try. Wow, that's pretty cool. It really looked like it was moving. Moving pictures are so much fun. I used to love this thing. I guess inventions like this led to the creation of movies. Really? Wow, I had no idea. How do you know all this stuff? It's great. Well, I always wanted to be a filmmaker when I grew up. That was my dream. Oh, sorry, Dee. Leather in this tatter. The leather in it tatters. It's a pretty cool color though. There's a mysterious disc in the drawer. Oh, so it was some sort of mechanism. We should be able to open the door now. This should do it. It's open. There's the ladder. Let's take it down. That has gotta be just past here. Looks like the lamp's cord is connected to the floor. There's a pile of old documents in the corner of the room. Sales contract. Were these used when selling gold? Huh. A round light appeared.
Appeared on the brick when the candle was lit. Oh, you're right. It must be coming from the lamp, but where is it coming from to make it so round?
Check the shade.
It looks like someone made this hole on purpose.
Yeah. Hey,
If you look closely, the brick's a little different than the rest. No way, really? We should check it out. It moved when I touched it.
What was that? Oh, look. The floor opened up. You okay?
I've been here before.